I'm going to give you some really simple things that when you piece them together, they're going to make sense and you're going to go, oh yeah, right? Simple answers for the biggest things, like in a piece of chalk. Right. Salt alters you in the name. We'll get to a little bit of code in a minute, but one of the things that you've got to realise is that your eyes are in upside down, and you've been designed that way, so you've been changed so you can't figure the place out quite as easy. It takes a different perspective to figure the place out, whether you're talking what you might call matrix code. Right? This is just words that trigger, yes, I know what he's on about, the links to the answer, right? John in the Bible came before Jesus, right? It's the question. When you get the answer, it's Jesus, right? And you've got to understand things from an intelligent point of view without context. If you just get plain data, right, and that's what the construct of the place is. Well, the construct is the makers, the creators. Because you've got to understand a fair amount today, but I wanted to share this. Right, your eyes are in upside down. If they weren't, what you'd see is the power stations, right? Ask any child, right? They know that clouds come from power stations, the big chimneys that pump out the clouds. What you've got to realise is that it's upside down. There are layers of atmosphere. There's a reason why fear is in there, and it's the sounds, it's phonics. So, upside down, from a particular layer, what you would see is the chimneys like straws sucking up the clouds, the energy. There's energy. We, through our internal energies, we produce energy. And this is a bit of a con, you see, because our energy is being created and then sucked to produce energy that we then pay for. And that's the cycle. This is where nuclear energy, say it a bit slower, nuclear energy, because it was the next step from the power stations. They didn't need the straws to suck up the clouds because they could do it from what's in the air, right? The energy that's produced that is clear, that you don't see. It's like the TV signals, right, that pass through the air that you don't see. Our energy is produced, and that's collected by nuclear energy power stations, right? Right. Here's another one. The sun. Because we gravity is magnetic. Right? The iron in your blood keeps you grounded. Right? The magnet, right? The magnetic field is the field of play, right? The ground from the pull of the magnet that is under the layer that we're on top of. The eyes are the way around, and it's the iron, it's the parts, the particles, right, in your blood, in materials that keep things down. There'd be a lot of questions around that, though. Yeah, right. A question, right, is something that sends you on a quest. It's a mental quest. You ask a question, you go on a thought journey. You go on a train. Different modes of transport. There's the train of thought. There's the car, which is the arc. You have to rearrange the words. This is what codes are. This is why children would probably figure this out much quicker if we didn't train them in thinking a particular way. This is why the clues are there in lots of different scriptures. But just as much as looking around the place that you are and the things that the eye is drawn to, right, the clues are there because this is your own personal journey. Anyway, the sun. Also, a bit of a magnet when you think about the lava, right? And you think about the heat, the connection. When you, so the sun's there, and a little bit of cloud comes across, and it goes much cooler because it's the cloud, right? The dense is blocking the signal, blocking the pull. That's why heat rises. The heat doesn't come from the sun. The heat comes from underneath, right? On top of. And it's trying to draw together. You get a little bit of cloud, so it blocks the signal, the pull, the attraction, and it goes a bit cooler. Also, if you look at a cloud for long enough, it will disappear. Right, but the sun, I mean, it's very different seasons now because of the change of the shape, and also it depends on these at certain times of our process. The calendar is what sends you around in circles. It's the perception of patterns, right? It's supposed to be 360, which would make it a lot easier to work out because we would do 360 degrees and the light passes through certain atmospheres. Though if one at a certain time of our calendar is over here and not there, then the signal doesn't pass through quite as easy, which is why it's colder at different times of our pattern of our year as we go through the cycle, and then it gets to our right there. So there's a lot there. I've not really gone so much into the understanding the code, though. Like you say, though, right? Not just yet. There's more to understand on this. You've got to understand the layers. We're producing the energy. A lot of it is mental, emotional, and physical energies. The physical energy we can see the movement. We call it kinetic energy, right? And this is sort of collected in certain ways of our movement and our own internal generators, and we can sort of pedal a bike and we can measure that. Now that's a bit, easier to see. The mental energies, which is a lot of electronics, right, and the emotional, which is fire and water, right, are not so easy to see. But when you get physical, right, or you get angry or you get upset, right, there's the tears, there's the red face, right, there's the pressure, right. And this is what's pressure systems. Getting a bit vague and going across a few areas because it spreads across everything that we know. But the sort of the con of it is that we are actually producing the energy that's then collected, right, within the